Hey guys, Shaba the Lion here. Welcome back to a Mufasa Lion King update, and man, is this a big one. So I've actually been waiting for a very long time to put this out. I wanted to put this out in mid-December. However, I'm in college at the minute, and I realized because I went on break, I left all my stuff I needed to make the video back at my college dorm. So yeah, but here we go. But I've finally gotten to get this figure out, and guess what? Good thing I waited because we have some more interesting stuff than what would have been in this video. We have a full premise now. Let me repeat that: full premise revealed for Mufasa: The Lion King, 2024. Now this was leaked by a German company, as you will see, or German Amazon website, as you will see in a second. And you'll see how that works. But let's get to the first part of this video, which is discussing the first part, which was supposed to be released in mid-December. As we already know with this report by The Hollywood Handle, now been confirmed fairly, the movie will follow the rise of one of the Pride Land's greatest kings, a.k.a. Mufasa. However, it has been confirmed in this, if you see my mouse, Kiara is going to be the cub mentioned as Simba and Nala's daughter. Now that is my secondary prediction. I was hoping it was Copa. I'm sure most fans were. But no, Kiara makes sense. Now that's interesting. Will we get other characters that we recognize? Very possibly likely, especially what we've talked about in previous videos in terms of what the directors have said about, other stuff from canon that they did not know. Again, I don't know how far into canon they've gone, but did not know being included. There's some very interesting takes that I can take from this next part, though, which is the big news. Bam, right there. As you can see, we have a post by Lion King Pin Collector who actually screenshotted and translated on a German site where Amazon Audio, Amazon CD, had Amazon had basically released the release date of the Mufasa soundtrack CD, and what ended up happening is in that CD, the soundtrack CD, I'm not sure if you can buy it or not. Probably not. I think they, obviously, because it's really far ahead, I think what they ended up doing was, this is like a release date announcement that they put on Amazon, but they leaked, apparently, this is the plot, and this is what has been leaked, is the official synopsis for Mufasa. We're going to dive into it right now. Now, the first part of this is it says some things that we've already discussed, but it also says some things that need to be broken down by me. First of all, terrible flood separates the young lion Mufasa from his parents. Now, originally we thought it was going to be, this is exactly how we thought it was going to be. However, what's more interesting is that his life is saved by another lion cub named Taka. So, Scar, if you guys didn't know, his original name was Taka. Most fans know that. But for those who don't, there you go. Basically, what's interesting is that Taka saves him. Especially for being weak. How he saves him, why, we don't know. There could be so much that goes into that. Now, at the next part of this, we got to analyze the part where it says Mufasa and Taka grow up like brothers. Now, what's very interesting about that statement is, obviously, it's been already confirmed that they were not going to be related by blood, which again is a risky move in part by Disney in a way, as some people might say, not me. But on the other hand, is actually pretty significant. Now, what's interesting is they grow up by brothers. That will actually be very good to show bonding between the two. Something that I was hoping they would actually hopefully do in this film, but that's very good to see that. Moving on, this next paragraph, which is the second paragraph in this little release, or leak, as I should say, is the most interesting one in terms of getting things that we did not know about. Things that, until literally, I think this was yesterday this got posted, until then, we had no clue about. And that is this. Right here. Years later, lions are almost adults. Another group of dangerous lions threatens the pride's existence. What does that mean for the plot? Well, it actually can mean a bunch of different things. That can mean, I mean, that's probably what's going to end up driving the main conflict in this story, which is very interesting. Now, a group of dangerous lions, what do I think of when I think of danger to a kingdom? I kind of think of Lion Guard if you're thinking about previous Lion King media as a fan. Now, do I think they're going to include it? Probably not. However, there is a very good chance, and there's a way they could do it subtly, especially if they defeat them and stuff. Perhaps, if getting far ahead of myself, but if Mufasa does indeed become the king, and then Taka, as you know in Lion Guard, he is the first, leader of the Lion Guard of the fiercest. As you know, he might indeed end up, they might at the end or something briefly, like show him as like with a patch or something. It's something subtle, like he's now the protector while Mufasa's the king, and then maybe he shows some sort of aggression, in his expression, and then it kind of I'm just trying to imagine things here, but that's a way they could do it subtly, just by showing his patch or something like quickly at the end. It would be very interesting, but very, 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 very doable. Moving on, Mufasa and Taka must go on the run together. Now, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So they're going to go on the run together, which means that who knows if they threaten the pride's existence. Does that mean perhaps other characters are going to die? Other, maybe Taka's parents? I have no idea. This is something, again, it can be left up to speculation, but very interesting. There they encounter both new allies and many dangers. Now, with this statement, it kind of gets me excited, where it says new allies. Because up to this point, speculation is, the understanding is Sarabi will make an appearance in this. However, the question would be is whether Zira would make an appearance or not. And I actually really do think that Zira is going to make an appearance in this film. I think that for a reason because, and this could be, I don't know, we're going to have to see the concept, the trailers and stuff still. But I think that since this says new allies in plural, which means we're going to get more than one character. So looking into that, it's going to be, it says new allies and many dangers, so that means that perhaps the dangers are physical, or perhaps they are what will end up splitting the two onto different terms, Taka and Mufasa, to where we see they kind of separate, or at least not really, but how like Taka kind of gets jealous or whatever. And there's again, I'll keep going into that in a second. Right here. And again, what emphasizes that point is this next part where it says their loyalty to each other is put to the test, which means that is exactly, I believe, what's going to end up starting the downfall of the relationship between the two. Who knows if it's based on again, people think based on the love, maybe they both are competing with the same lioness. I don't know, but we'll see. For those, so among them who are truly destined to reign as king, so this is basically a lot of great stuff that's been released just with this. I mean, I'm trying to be as fair to this as I can at the minute. I do think that we are going to see some interesting developments from this. Now, do I think it's going to be a great film? I can't say that at the minute. I am going to judge this fairly now. I think this plot, it gives me hope, because this plot and this story, it's a lot better than what it had, a lot better than what I had thought Disney was capable of at the minute. So, honestly, this is a very solid story. People have been arguing with me, and that's fine. People have their opinions. But I do think that in terms of the story, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be an absolutely great story. I do think the other things I'm going to have to watch that I am truly watching in this film include voice acting, the soundtrack, the way the characters are designed, and their expressions, of course. But, again, if it's got a good enough story, if you've got good enough voice acting, if it feels real, it's going to be a good film. Final thoughts. Now, um, we need the final thought I have here is that yes, it is kind of weird for fans who again have a problem with Scar and Mufasa being not related by blood. However, if you think about it, there's actually many instances of where this could be a good thing or could serve as uh, possibly even more developing these characters. All right, to continue my point, I'm sorry, I had to pull my little thing up here. Basically, I do agree. My final thoughts on this film. Now, again, people might have a problem with Scar um, being, not being of blood, not being related, Mufasa's actual blood brother. However, I think that there's actually some very strong points and an interesting story still that can be conducted with a plot like this. Um, and I'll argue this for several reasons. What made Scar such a great villain, and this is what people I think need to understand, is that he was not related. It's not that he was related to Simba. It was more so he was his greatness in manipulation, smarts, lack of care, including that of young cubs, and obviously, and overall ability to see his entire plan come to fruition. And the fact that he actually did have his plan achieved is why he's truly the great villain. Um, Now, people argue, well, how does that, what does that do to the Scar, the Simba relationship if you make him not by blood? Well, actually, I would actually argue that it makes, if you remember the scene where Simba believes him and runs from him, it's actually more impactful if you think about it, because since Scar is a master manipulator, not only is he manipulating Simba as a naive cub, but the fact that Simba trusted Scar as much as actual family, and that is something that will actually still speak of how evil Scar was and how you know under the radar his true intentions were. Um, the fact that people argue then, well, that doesn't really make him irredeemable. Then, well, yes, it actually does, because if you think about it, he still, if at the end of the film, tries to accomplish his dream, kill Simba, more so to keep his place rather than accept his defeat, accept exile. He decides to try to kill Simba and keep his place rather than take responsibility. Therefore, he is not redeemable in that aspect. Um, and again, there's a lot of other things you can go into with that. Um, However, here's the cool thing this is the thing I really want to talk about, is what you can do with. And again, these are my opinions. If you guys have other ones in the comments, just I can't. I would love to hear it. I noticed that we have this in the corner, which is OBS. No, but I would love to hear your comments, and I'm not doing another take. But I'd love to hear your comments, and I really want to hear what you have to say. Now, again, just be respectful. But again, what I really want to get through here, to point here, is the point that the fact of being no blood relation actually would actually really set up a cool way of doing a third movie if they chose to do so. For example, if they chose to do a third film, if they actually did choose to have Kovu, if they actually did have Zira, Kovu could still be Scar's son. Now, the cool thing about with Simba Mufasa, if instead Taka was the heir and Mufasa wasn't, but still Mufasa got to be the king, that ends up bringing a really cool aspect into it. That brings the aspect that Mufasa, while he was not the actual blood heir, he still was a better king. He still ruled better. He still, he was the rightful king in that aspect. And therefore Simba, his son, was also because Scar again. And here's the thing. What would be really great is that with Scar's son, Kovu, what's interesting that they could do here is when, if you have Kiara, then you have them to get together like you did in Lion King 2, but you obviously just a remastered one that doesn't have to follow the plot of that original film. And you could have them both fall in love with each other and end up basically having, the concept, which is in the, again, stated, we are one, theme of that film, which it should be, and argue that Scar's the original heir bloodline lives on through his son, who chose actually, which again makes Kovu's character even better, that fact that he actually was related to Scar, and he was actually brought up by Scar, and yet he chose not to follow in his paw prints, which I think is, again, a really strong point. And people argue, well, that's what happened with Lion King 2. But here's the thing about Lion King 2. Because of the fact that you have the blood, the concept of Mufasa and Scar being by blood, you couldn't they actually specifically mentioned in the film that because you can't have Kovu be a relation to Scar, else technically that'd be incestual if you think about it. Now, with Kovu and Kiara, as Scar is Simba's uncle, and then you got Simba, and so therefore, Kovu and Kiara technically are kind of cousins or something like that. So that's the way it is. But here's the thing: like that actually makes for a better overall concept, in my opinion. There's still, don't get me wrong, there's still problems with this film. Again, if it is really good, I'll still have the one issue that everyone else does. It should have been animated. That's the one thing that everyone's going to argue about. But oh well. And not even just that, there's still going to probably be issues. I have a genuine feeling with like the character design and but the good thing that's helping it is as long as the story is good, as long as the voice acting is great, the music makes sense, and and yeah, I mean overall like the film is, I do think that, and dare I say it, it could live up to being as great as it has the potential at the minute, as far as I see, to be possibly as great as Lion King 2 or better. And we will see. Again, it's mostly my opinions, but they're all backed up by some facts and analysis. Anyway, last thing I wanted to talk about is my new prediction of when we will see the teaser trailer drop. Now, because of this information that was kind of leaked, but the fact that it's been getting, releasing, soundtrack stuff, in Germany and stuff, I do think then we are very close to a teaser trailer drop. I do think that there is a possibility, considering the 2019 teaser trailer dropped during a football game in November, that we will see, and it would make total sense for them to drop the Mufasa trailer on the day of the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl as well. I do think that it makes total sense. You have a lot of people on TV to see it. You have, you have a whole, it just makes sense on a ton of levels. It's also, so we'll see. But that's my new prediction. If you guys have any other questions or comments, just put them in the comments. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had on this. Oh, one more thing. Just a surprise for those who have stayed to the end of this video. I will be releasing a video at the minimum, but possibly a series. Actually, a video and a series. Now, how long that series is going to depend on some factors I cannot talk about at the minute. But it will be very interesting. It will release some stuff that people have never really seen about The Lion King 2 and its production. Let's just say, and some of it is going to be exclusive to this channel. What I mean by that is I have exclusive content from the production of The Lion King 2 in my personal hands that, again, I will be, and I feel it's my duty as fan to release it to the fandom publicly. I will still have a way of protecting the original medium and content, but I do think it's wise to share with you guys because I that's what I want to do. Now I might have other stuff besides what you might be thinking, which is actually pretty amazing. But we will see. Again, not gonna say too much on it, but there's a little surprise for you guys to see to the end of the video. All right, that's it. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And until the next video, hopefully this film is a success. I'll see you guys.